everyone, and welcome to another YouTube video, and Happy New Year! Although it is now nearly the end of January, so it's not really New Year anymore, but anyway, welcome to a new video. This week was going to be I wanted to do like a macro video on ant photography, because I found loads of this species of ant in this nature reserve here. But what I didn't do is I didn't check that ants are active in winter, and it turns out they are not. So I've come here hoping to do some macro photography, and I've got my macro lens, and that's the only one I bought because I was like, I'll spend the whole time doing that. But now I've discovered that ants hibernate over winter, something I probably should have googled before leaving the house, but never mind. So I'm not going to go home because it's really nice conditions today. It's kind of frosty, but it's getting slightly warmer, so and it's not raining, unlike it has been for the last 2 weeks. So I think I'm going to do like some forest photography. I'm not really sure what's going on anymore, but I figured I'd film a video anyway, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so I've got good news and I've got bad news. Basically, I don't know if you can hear this, but someone has started shooting. I thought it was a bird scare at first, and I was like, okay, that's acceptable, because I was already annoyed because firstly, there's no wildlife. The wildlife that I wanted to shoot here isn't here, and by shoot I mean photograph, not shoot like the people over there. Then I heard a guy like trimming trees, and I was like, oh, that's a bit annoying, but okay. And then about 10 minutes ago, I heard what I thought was a bird scarer, but it's now become way too frequent to be a bird scarer, and it is clearly someone doing some shooting over there somewhere, and it's just echoing in the valley, which is very annoying. But the better news is I have found some things to photograph. I mean, there's always things to photograph, but like wildlife, if you will. Firstly, there I saw some cool mushrooms over there, and I took some shots of that. And just behind the camera, or that way, behind the camera is what I'm trying to say, there is some Exmoor ponies. They do seem slightly upset by the shots being fired, which is understandable, so I won't get too close, but hopefully I will be able to get some shots of them, and that can be like my wildlife for today's video, unlike the ants, which I am still feeling slightly bitter about. But there is a point: always do your research before leaving the house to do wildlife photography. But I will catch up with you guys in a bit once I've taken some shots of the Exmoor ponies. There's some ponies over there, look. Oh my god, finally, wildlife. I can't even zoom in. Come on, phone. Oh, there you go. Oh, that is awful zooming in. Look, but there is the Exmoor ponies, and the good news is I can go over there. I mean, I assume I can because this gate is wide open and there's nothing that says you can't. So I'm going over there. so I'm kind of back at the beginning of the path now, or the beginning of the nature reserve, I should say, and I'm going to head home in a minute. I took some nice pictures of the ponies. I think they actually turned out quite nice, I think. But I just wanted to talk a minute because obviously the aim of today was to take pictures of ants, and obviously they're all hibernating, so that has not happened. But I just wanted to take a minute to talk about wildlife photography in general, because a lot of wildlife photography, you go out and you don't see what you aim to see because it's wildlife and it's totally unpredictable. I mean, in today's circumstance, it's my own fault for not knowing that ants hibernate, rather than the ants' fault, because they're more, you know, it's quite easy to find ants, to be honest, let's face it. But today it's my own fault for not knowing that they hibernate. But a lot of wildlife photography is you go out and you don't see what you wanted to see, and it can be quite like disheartening. And I know earlier in the video I was like, oh, it's all going wrong, there's a guy shooting, I can hear there's like an airplane, there was no ants. I was a bit despondent, and I just wanted to address that because a lot of wildlife photography, you don't know what you're going to see. I mean, you can aim to see stuff and you can go to places and you can do your research. Obviously I didn't do enough today, but then you still cannot see anything. But I wanted to talk about that because that is not really my aim for wildlife photography. I do wildlife photography because I like being out here, and even though I haven't seen the ants today, and it was just luck that there was ponies here for me to photograph, I've still had, oh, wait a minute, there's a robin really close by. Anyway. Oh, he's so cute. That shows what happens, doesn't it? Just then, there's a robin right there. Didn't expect to see him, and that's basically wildlife photography. Just a minute, I'll refocus. Hello. So you may have noticed I am now in a slightly different location, and I have a dog lead instead of my backpack, and Luca is over there running around, my Labrador. So basically what happened was I got interrupted by that robin, and then the tree cutter guy got really loud, and my hands were cold, and I was just like, right, I'll film the end bit later. So it's now slightly later. By that, it's about an hour. I am back outside again. This time I'm walking Luca, who is over there in the distance staring at me because I'm not chucking his ball for him. But yeah, I just wanted to finish the video off. I wanted to talk a little bit about wildlife photography and like expectations and not getting what you wanted, etc, etc. So I know earlier in the video I was a bit despondent. I went to photograph ants. There was no ants because they were hibernating because it's winter, which is my own fault because I didn't look that up. But that is, I mean, in today's instance, it was my own fault for not knowing, for not researching beforehand. But a lot of times when you go out to do wildlife photography, you don't get what you wanted because it's wildlife and it's totally unpredictable. So I just thought I'd like to talk about that a little bit, because I mean, it's wildlife. You never know what you're going to see or what you might see. Like, I saw some ponies today, and that was amazing because it gave me something to photograph instead of the ants. But I feel I wanted to like mention that even if I hadn't seen the ponies, I still had like a really great time outside, because wildlife photography for me, it's not just about the wildlife, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of it is being able to see the wildlife and photograph it, because I mean it's in the name. But also I just love being outdoors, and even if I hadn't seen those ponies, I think I still would have had like a really great time this morning. Like, I still spent like 3 hours outside in the beautiful sunshine. I mean, it's still sunny now. I mean, even though it's cold, it's still really nice, and I still had a great time. And so I just wanted to say that I don't just do wildlife photography to photograph wildlife, if that makes sense. I also do it because it makes me feel great, because it improves my mental health, and I just love being outside. But I just wanted to mention that because I think it's easy to forget that sometimes. It's easy to go, oh, I didn't see any wildlife today, was a rubbish day of wildlife photography. You know, you don't get the photos you want, but it's part of the hobby really, and it's part of what makes it so exciting as well, because you never know what you're going to see. And sometimes you see amazing wildlife and sometimes you see absolutely nothing, but it's all part of it, and I still really love it. So I just wanted to end on that note because yeah, I thought it needed like a more positive end to the video. But yeah, I hope next week I will search for some wildlife that is actually like available to see in the winter months. Oh, Luke is behind me now. And yeah, I'll make another video, and so I hope you liked today, and I'll put up maybe I'll put up some footage of what I wanted to see, because I took some footage of the ants last year, so maybe I'll end with some of that footage and some of the photos last year, so you can kind of see what I was aiming for today and then didn't get. But maybe we'll try again in a few more months in the summertime. But yeah, have a good day.